These thoughts up in my head, things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here.
I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm your host, Ed. As always, journey with me as we pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. We are at episode 47. And we're moving. So hope that your day's been going well. Hope your week's been going well. Hope that you have accomplished the goals that you set out. I hope that whatever you're facing, you're making it through. I know you'll make it through. We talked about that last week. So just keep pushing, keep striving. Know that people believe in you. Know that people want to see you succeed. I am one of those people. Yeah. Other than that, let's see. The week is cool. The kid, well, the grown kid is getting ready to go back to school. The young kid is feeling better. He was down for a little bit with a little fever, but he's good now. The wife is doing well. I'm trying to keep my head above water. So, things are going well. We're doing our best with what we got. I do feel pretty good. I think I'm up to 170 followers on TikTok. So shout out to all 170 of y'all. Forget where I'm at on Instagram. One something. I don't want to throw numbers out there that I don't know, but shout out to all my followers over on Instagram. Definitely trying to blow up the YouTube page as well. I do the visuals over there. So for all of you who are consumers of my podcast, thank you so much. And definitely like, share, subscribe, do all that. But if you're new here and you want to learn more about what we do, the Overthinking Thoughts Pod, as you know, we try to pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. There's so much going on around us, but what we want to do is be the best version that we can be. And that's my goal with every single podcast, but then how I try to carry myself every single day. So, with that being said, if you want to find out more about us, you can find us, our podcast, my podcast, it streams on Apple, Spotify. We're also on Google Podcasts as well. And then the visuals are on YouTube. And then for the socials, I'm only two places. If you want to find me, you can find me over at Instagram or Overthinking Thoughts Pod. But you can also find me on TikTok at Overthinking Thoughts Pod as well, depending on which platform you got. Or if you got both, support both, right? Just go ahead and add them and we'll be good. So now that we got the housekeeping items all taken care of, let's talk a little bit about our topic, which is something that I've been dealing with this week. And I know if I've been dealing with it, I know that other people have probably gone through it as well. So we're talking about discouragement or feeling discouraged. So what exactly is that? How do people feel when they see it? What type of form does it come in? You know what I mean? Like, because it could come in many ways. It is very easy to get discouraged in this world, not only by what you see, but the company you keep and the people that are surrounding you. We are very human in the fact that we are big on watching what other people do and being inspired by that, but then becoming extremely discouraged if we start to compare where we are versus where whatever we're trying to get to, wherever that is. And that can be very damaging, not only for the physical, but for the mental as well. Discouragement can lead to depression. It can lead to all types of overthinking, anxiety pieces, things of that nature. So like it's always it's a tricky thing, and it's a very slippery slope. And you got to be very careful of doing that comparison piece, because comparison, as you know, is the thief of joy. And what you don't want to do is start out in something that you're really passionate about, start making progress, and then end up halting the progress because of something you've seen or something that's been said or something you overheard or an obstacle or whatever the case may be. Because the goal is to not be derailed off of your path, but sometimes that discouragement can rear its ugly head, and it can come in so many different forms. And I think, like, for me, I was just like looking at my stuff on Instagram. I'm looking at TikTok. When I look at like where I'm at, me personally, I get more views on TikTok. I get some views on Instagram. I do have, one that did really, really well, and I'm very happy about that because I never thought that I would see that. But there are these moments where I'll watch like other stuff that pops up, and I'm like, man, like how are they getting so many, and what did they do, and how they do this and do that, and it's like I'm getting caught in the well, here's me and then here's them, and I'll never get there because they're constantly growing, and I'm just still I feel like I'm stuck here. But that's not a fair assessment. I don't know how hard they had to work to get to that point. I'm still in the beginning stages, you know what I mean? Like, well, not really beginning stages. I've had it like I've been able to do this consistently, but I'm still learning as I go. And I think the tricky part is that you just become fully discouraged because when things don't go the way that you want them to, you start to fall back into that space of doubt, of fear, of anxiety, and overthinking. And our goal is to overcome that. The world's chaotic as is. The last thing we need to do is be our own worst enemy. And we can damage ourselves based upon the information we receive from other people or other circumstances based on our talents, our beliefs, our views, and it becomes such a weapon against us. Discour- yeah, let me let me say that again because the devil trying to play games because he knows what I'm about to say. Discouragement is nothing but the devil. Anytime you're trying to do something good, somebody gonna try to come into your way and block your blessing. Anytime you start to make progress, something is always gonna try to come in the way and try to halt that. And if you decide that you become discouraged by the events or your emotions or your feelings, then he's won. And there's absolutely no way that he can win when I know that God has given me victory, which means that I should chase after victory and not be discouraged based on my situation or not be discouraged based on what other people are saying because other people and the situation does not know how powerful I am because of how big my God is. And that's something that I have to remember. I will admit that some days I lose that sight because I'm human. I have my days where I'm up top and I have other days where I feel like I'm way at the bottom and nobody sees me and nobody knows what I'm doing and nobody knows what's happening. But, you know, one of the things that I one of the things that I have to keep telling myself is you just got to keep going because you don't know what episode or what clip or what words you say might blow some things up to in a good way in a point where now more people are seeing you or whatever the case may be. And to be honest, like the goal was never to be this like major person. Like I mean, if it happens, it happens. I would love that. The goal was to face the fear and pursue something that I had thought about for quite some time and kept doubting myself to do. And so now that I'm in this position, I can't quit. I can't stop. Even when I do feel like things are tough, you know, and there's moments like as a human we get caught up in that stuff, you know, but the challenge is to recognize it, see it, and then call it out for what it is, and then keep moving. That's just the only thing that we can do because the discouragement will try to push you in directions that you don't need to be, show you things you don't need to see, and make you believe things that aren't necessarily true. You know how hard you can work. You know how dedicated you are. You know your dream. You know your vision. You know what you want to do, and you know you want to get it accomplished. So if you know all these things and you're wanting to pursue all these things and you're wanting to grow and become the best version of you, why would you let a small inconvenience stunt your growth? Why would you let discouragement take you away from the very thing that you know you're supposed to be doing? And one of the reasons why we truly get discouraged is because we lose sight of who we are. In other words, we let discouragement become our identity. We go from the strong-willed person that we know we are and we fall into the weak-minded individual that allows everything to halt our progress and takes us back into that dark space that we fought so hard to get out of. But because of the sequence of events, we feel maybe that's where I'm supposed to be. And you're not. Like, you're not. You're not. You are put here on this earth with the time that you're given. I don't know how much time you're gonna get, but I do know that within those moments and within the time frame that you have, you can make a very positive impact. If you're a Christian and you're wanting to save souls, you can make an impact by reaching out, spreading the gospel. If you are an entrepreneur, you can make an impact by allowing people to find their passions and build their own businesses. If you are a person that is in if you're in the field of helping others, you can make an impact to reach out a helping hand, show them the way, so that way they can do the same for others. Like, we all are put in different positions to do different things that can make great things happen, but a lot of the things don't happen because we allow the discouragement to take us away from the very thing that we want, or the very thing that has been put into our heart. And I had this thought the other day when I was driving home. God gave you a gift, God gave you a talent, and then he put something in your heart that made you so passionate and lit a fire inside of you so much that you decided to pursue it. And the very thing that he gave you, the very thing that he blessed you with, the very thing that he put in your heart and said, "This is my gift to you." When things get difficult, you become discouraged. How you going to be discouraged by the gift God gave you? That's for me. Like that I need that for me, because I get into this cycle of like, I don't know if this is it. But then I think my son told me not to quit. My youngest son is not going to be happy if I did all this and quit. My wife supports it. I got other people that reach out. I've met numerous people who I've never met before, listening to words that I say. And I'm not this major influencer or this big time celebrity. I'm just a person who dug deep inside and said, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. So I got to see it through. And because of it, I'm going to keep doing my best to give you what I got until I have none more left. But as of right now, I still got more to give. So I'm going to keep going. But I do understand that there are those moments where you feel low. I'm talking to the person right now who feels like no matter what they do or no matter how hard they work, it just doesn't work out. I'm talking to the person who has tried so hard and fought for so long, and it just seems like it's dead end after dead end after dead end. And you've heard the cliche like, hey man, it's gonna build you up for something greater. It's gonna make you stronger. It's gonna make you do this. It's gonna make you do that. And you're just not believing it right now. What will it take for you to see the true person inside of you? What will it take for you to overcome these obstacles? You might say it's out of my control, but you got to remember who's in control. And sometimes the reason why we're out of control is because we're trying to take the control away from the person who is guiding us in the right direction. And maybe they know a little bit more than we do. And yet we're trying to interfere. Stuff to think about. Or maybe you need to analyze who's in your circle. If every time you have a dream or you have some type of amazing idea and you come up with it and the people around you are shooting it down and you haven't done anything to see it through, then you need to analyze if the people around you are blessings or burdens. You need to analyze if these people are going to help you build or if they're just going to bury you. You need to analyze if you start to make progress, if they applaud or if they become jealous. If they're mad, if they're booing you when you're succeeding, but they're clapping for you when you are failing, that's a problem. And I think that sometimes we allow other people to dictate where we think we should be. I could look back to younger me and I was trying to be like everybody else and be a copy of everybody else. And because I never really believed in myself, so it was very hard to when things didn't go my way, I couldn't understand it. It's like, well, I'm trying to be this, or I'm trying to do this, or I'm trying to do that, but every time I do it, I get shut down. Well, it goes back to identity. Maybe you trying to maybe you trying to fit in somebody else's shoes that aren't meant for you. The size is too big. It's too big for you. The path you're walking is not meant for you. The goal that is at the end for them has nothing to do with you. And the reason why you kept failing was because their plan didn't have you in it, which is okay because you have your own. You're just afraid to see where it can go because you don't like you. I got to get you to be confident in yourself. And it took me a very long time to get to that point. It's slightly embarrassing to say how long it took, but just know that it happened. And I finally learned how to just believe in myself. And I encourage others to try to do the same. Um, you're unique, you're special, you have talent, you have gifts, you have ideas, you have visions, you have goals. And I don't want you to be discouraged from those things. I want you to go after them and achieve them. And if you fail in the process or if you fall in the process, I don't want that to be the end. I want you to use that as a learning tool. I want you to use that as a stepping stone to get closer to the goal in which you are called for. But you also have to have that belief in yourself that no matter how difficult things get, you can make it through. No matter what the circumstances are, you're learning how to put one foot in front of the other. I had a conversation with somebody this week. I was listening to their situation and they were telling me about some things and their demeanor was so like I mean, in the midst of all of what happened, they could have easily threw in the towel and nobody would have blamed them. But yet they decided to just keep going. And I remember asking the question of like, you have this very like relaxed attitude of like, I know I'm gonna make it. And this person's like, it took some time to really get to that point, but I realized that I got to keep moving forward. People feel for me, but at the same time, I still have to go after what's meant for me. And I can't get there if I decide to stand still. And it just made me think like sometimes you'll look at your situation and think it's the worst thing, and then somebody will tell you something and you'll be like, how are you even making it? And they're showing you that regardless of the situation or how difficult things may be, they still keep going. In fact, I was, sometimes on TikTok I like to jump into people's lives just to kind of hear what they're talking about. Not that AI stuff or that was wild. I don't even know if that's still happening, but some of the lives just be whatever, It's TikTok though. So discretion is advised on what you see. But in this particular person's live, Christian woman, young adult who was talking about some situation. I don't like putting people business out there. I'm just letting you know, like there was some heavy topic stuff they was talking about. I believe I think her name is Lay. I think that's how you say it. Or Lay, Lei, goofing that. But I remember listening to her talk and she was talking about moving forward after, something very damaging happens and she was just saying how she wasn't gonna let past demons interfere with where she was trying to go with her future, but also like understanding that in those situations, like recognizing that the devil had a hold on what was going on, or not what was going on, but like the devil was interfering. But the reason why she's able to keep moving and keep going is because God's bigger than all of that. And you see her express it every day. And the other thing that I really think is respectful is the fact that, she lets you know, like, there's days where it's not perfect. And yet every day, still moving forward, not comparing everything else, but always coming back to the source and their foundation of what they believe in. Now, for me, my foundation and what I'm really trying to build on is Christ, right? I'm trying to remember and understand like the true magnitude of what truly happened and what the cross really represents and why it's so important for me to follow that. I'm working on building that. So my foundation will always fall back on Jesus Christ, the sacrifice he made, the fact that I believe in him and that he wants me to move forward, share his love, share the gifts that he's given me so that way other people are drawn toward him so they can give their life and be saved, right? Like, so that's a foundation piece that I have to work on for me. I don't know what your foundation is. I would hope that it's rooted in that. Some people find it in other things, but you should always have a solid foundation. Always, always, always have a solid foundation because it is very easy for your foundation to fall if it's built on hollow ground. In other words, your foundation can fall if it's built on broken promises, other people's comments, other people's ideas, other people's rants, what other people think is right for you. You start building your foundation off of other people's thoughts, then you lose the sole focus of who you are as an individual. And so, no wonder you're going to get discouraged because you have no idea of who you are or where you're supposed to go because you've invested so much time in everybody else when the true investment should have been in you. And I don't want you to lose sight of that because you are special and you do have something inside of you that you need to go after. But you can't be discouraged by other people. You will have days where it will feel very tough, but those will be the moments that will help you help others. And what I mean by that is this. I try to explain this to right, there's a population of students I work with, and I always tell them to look at their future self and look at their future goals and see where they are. And in those moments where things get difficult, I always tell them, look to future self, because future self is going to look at you and go, oh, I remember when we got here, but we got through. And then in the moment, it's going to seem difficult. But then when you get to that point where future you is and you're in that moment, you will be forever grateful. Now, I'm telling you all that is like to wrap it back to my main point. It's like what I want is for you to be able to see that so that way those tough moments when you're being asked how did you make it through, you'll be able to go back to those moments that seem like the darkest days of your life and you'll be able to provide light to somebody who is looking for light to shine in places that are dark for them. You will have that expertise. You will have that skill set. You will have the words and the tools and the vision to give to that person. You're going to plant that seed and hopefully they will nurture it to the point where they grow into something great. So that cliche saying of like tough times don't last, tough people do, that's a real thing. It's a real thing. I keep going back to the Nipsey Hussle quote. I just didn't quit. I just didn't give up. It's not that I'm special or better than anybody else. I just didn't quit. It's the motivation behind this podcast. I can't quit. My son does not want me to give up on this thing, so I'm not. Because I have to show him that no matter the difficulties, no matter how I'm feeling or the days where it seems like I'm like right at the deadline and I'm not making my own thing and holding myself accountable and not, putting myself in discipline. Like I don't want to fall and then my son watches his dad give up. Like I ultimately I just don't want to let my kids down. I don't want to let my family down. I also don't want to let myself down. I'm tired of doing that. I've done that way too many times. So it's time to level up. I got to step up. I want you to do the same. I don't want you to, I never want you to feel like you're not important or you don't matter. I never want you to feel like what you do is worthless. You can't feel worthless because you are worth something. You have value. It's up to you to decide on how to spread that value. I would suggest you invest in yourself and look at who you are, what's true to you, and then go pursue it. Yeah, people, there's going to be a lot of people that may not like what you do, If it's in a positive light and you're doing something that's benefiting you and benefiting others for the greater good, and you're pursuing greatness in a world full of chaos, it doesn't matter what naysayers say. A lot of people are going to say those things because deep down they wish they were you. Have you ever noticed that? Like, that just made me think about that. Have you ever noticed that a lot of times when you're trying to chase after something that seems impossible to other people, but you have a vision and you're on fire for it, other people will try to tell you why you can't make it? It's the perception of them that they're trying to reflect on you. Don't put your perception, don't your whatever your opinion of me is, don't put that on me because it's not me. Like, if you got a negative opinion about me, don't put that on me because that's not how I'm moving. That's not how I operate. I'm not trying to operate in your negativity. I got progress I got to make. I'm trying to stay positive for my kids, for the people that I've mentored, for people that will look to me for advice in the future. I don't have time to live the image of your negativity. And honestly, if you're trying to project your negativity on me, what does that say about you? What does it say about you? So if you're that person watching this and you know and you're recognizing that, what does it say about you? And what do you need to do to change that narrative? Because if you're powerful enough to create stories of negativity or spew negativity and create these illusions and these things that will discourage people, could you imagine if you like just changed your mindset and you used your mind for good and you actually started influencing people and being positive for the good? Like, if your mind's powerful enough to try to pull you away, then it's definitely more powerful to get you out of that situation, but then to also be successful. It's all in the mind. It's all in what you think. It's all in what you feel. But you got to stop putting your negative energy out there. We ain't got time for it. The world doesn't have time for it. You don't have time for it simply because you don't know how much time you have. So, in the midst of that, find the positivity in your life and don't don't let the small things stop you. Don't let your insecurities, don't let your stop talking negative to yourself. That's really what I'm trying to say. Stop doubting you. Stop saying that you're not good enough. Stop saying you're not worth it. Stop saying you're not strong enough. Stop saying that you're not the guy or the girl. Stop saying that. Stop acting like you aren't important when you have important values. Stop acting like you don't have anything to bring to the table when you could build your own and create greatness for everybody around if they choose to take a seat. Stop being so bad on yourself and give yourself some grace. You human. So you know you're not perfect, but you are something and you have something to give to this world and to the people in it that need something. Make sure it's a positive thing though. And you can start by allowing yourself to not feed into the negativity of others or yourself, but to then find the positive within you and go one step at a time. My task is very simple for you this week. Don't be discouraged, be encouraged. Don't feed into discouraging thoughts. Don't feed into doubtful lies or deceit from yourself or from others. Take some time to look at who you truly are, review your identity, find your passions. And then when you start moving forward, you need to stay consistent with what you're doing and you need to stay committed to what you're doing because you have a light and the path that you're going to be walking. A lot of people might try to follow, and it might be a little dark for them because maybe this is forbidden territory. But because you are the light, you will illuminate and you will show them the right way to go because you just didn't quit. So don't be discouraged, folks. If you need encouragement, I'm here. Slide in the DMs, Hit me up on TikTok. Like, you need somebody to encourage you? I got you. I want to help you. I want to see you be successful. And you know why, right? You know why I want to see you be successful. It's because I believe in you. And when I say that, I really mean it. I do believe in you. Now go believe in yourself, all right? See Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm Ed. We out.
These thoughts up in my head. Things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here.
I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.